Hey, it's Jared with Daily Learn. Today we're going to take a look at a robot called Astro. This is from Amazon. It is one of the Alexa devices, and it is a robot that can patrol your home and do pretty much anything that an Alexa can do. So I'm reviewing this because it's the next generation in-home assistance, and it has some interesting features that I found useful. And this video is really to help all of you understand whether or not something like this makes sense to have in your home. First of all, let's take a look around the robot. I'll just kind of talk about what its features are and what it does. It can move about your home all on its own. So imagine a device kind of like an animal that can walk around or roll around your home, going into different rooms and checking out things and seeing what's going on. But it has a built-in camera and it has face detection. And it also has all the features of a standard Alexa device. So what's great about this is that it can patrol your home like a security device. Whereas most of us might put up cameras in our home, the robot here can actually do that for you, but roam about your house. So that way you don't have to have awkward cameras mounted in random places. So what we have in the back is kind of a storage area where you're able to send this device, and I'm going to keep calling it a device because if I say its name, it's going to keep thinking that I'm trying to talk to it. You can send this device to the kitchen. So I could throw something in the back of it, such as my phone, and say, hey, take this to the kitchen, and it could take it to the kitchen. So you have like a storage compartment back here. This is also a handle right here for you to pick him up. There's also USB Type-C in the back here, which allows you to charge an external device or connect an external device to him. There isn't really a whole lot that I believe you can do with that. It's probably also for charging or diagnostics as well. He has sensors all the way around him, and the sensors make it very easy for him to see where he's going and avoid running into things. I imagined this to be very much like one of those robot vacuums that's constantly bumping its way around trying to figure out where it's going. I was pleasantly surprised once he was set up and patrolling the home, just how good of a job he did at not hitting corners or running into anything. And for how fast he goes and moves about the house, how good he is at doing that without running into things. I was really impressed with that. Now, the initial setup was a little bit tricky. Just some tips when you're setting this up. Set him up in an opened area where there isn't a lot of things in the way, because one of the things he needs to be able to do is return to his charging device. Once he returns to his charging device, you can put that charging device in a small area where he has to kind of back in and figure out his way to get in. And it actually works really well. But initially I was pretty frustrated because he was having a hard time getting to his charger because I just didn't have enough room for him to figure it out. So I highly recommend when you set him up to have some space for him to figure things out. And then once he's fully set up, you can put that charger in a small space and he has no problem getting to it. This is what he's basically doing when he's not doing anything else. His eyes are there and he's blinking. And if you walk into the room, his eyes may follow you. I mean, there are some things that kind of creeped my wife out a little bit. She wasn't totally on board with him seeming like he's watching her. And so that's something that you have to get used to if you're going to keep him. But there are sensors and stuff as well. What's really neat is that when I walk into the room, he recognizes me because I've done the face setup. If you have any sort of Alexa device that has a camera, you've probably set up that already so that when the Alexa device recognizes you, it can show you your calendar, it can show you information that's specific to you. And that's one of the neat things about setting him up for each of the people in your house. When you do that, it recognizes that individual person, and when you ask it to do things, it's going to respond in a personalized way. So if I ask it to play music, then it's going to play music that I like because it recognized me. If my wife asks it to play music, it's going to play music that she would want to hear. And same with showing photos. It has this big display here, and that big display can be used to show information. So if you want it to show a slideshow of photos instead of the eyes, you can do that, and it's just showing a slideshow of photos, or have it show information. His eyes are just kind of the default if you tell it to go back to its home screen. Then this essentially is the home screen. One of the things that I had to learn was all of the different voice commands that I can give it. There's lots of things that you can do, such as tell it to go to a specific room of your house, tell it to patrol when you're away. When you leave the house, you put it into patrol mode, and then it goes and scans your house. It goes from room to room just to make sure that nothing's going on in those rooms. We have a small dog, and so it recognizes that there is a pet at home, and that doesn't trigger setting it off. But when it recognizes a person, it can trigger an alarm essentially and notify me on my phone. It connects with the Ring system that Amazon also owns. And so if I have other Ring cameras that are on the external area of my home, it works along with him so that I can see different camera views. If I'm away, I can actually have his periscope camera come up, and his periscope camera can show me around the house. It can either pop up like a good maybe 5 or 6 inches, or it can telescope all the way up to almost eye level with me, and I'm 6 feet tall. And then it's patrolling around the house, and it can see over things like couches and countertops and stuff like that, which is great. Think of the times that you've left the house and forgot to turn off the stove, or you thought that you forgot to turn off the stove. You can tell him to go into the kitchen, put his camera up, and you can see whether the stove is in fact turned on or off. Those are neat features for a device like this. This isn't a cheap device. Right now it's in beta and you can get it a bit cheaper, but once this device launches, it's about $1,500. So you have to consider the fact of where the value is in a device like this. If I want to have the ability to see all areas of my home when I'm not there, I'm going to have to put up cameras all over the home. That could be probably $500 or $600 depending on which cameras you go with. And then those cameras are up all over your house all the time, which I don't really like. Whereas with this, it's going around the house and doing everything that you need to do without having cameras mounted everywhere. It just doesn't feel right having cameras up all over your house. This is a mobile camera, essentially, that can patrol your home. Now, when you are home, the functionality that it adds is kind of fun. The kids like telling him to dance and having him dance around the front room and play some music. They also like having it play music because it has a decent speaker in it, and this becomes a speaker that can travel around and follow you. So think about those times when you're at home, you're doing chores around the house, and you want to play music. You can have him play music and follow you around, and wherever you are at, he's going to be playing music, which I think is great. Essentially, it would be like attaching a Bluetooth speaker onto the back of my dog and having him follow me around the house. There's utility in just having him around as well because of that. Now, there's also all the things that you can do with a standard Alexa, such as have it set a timer, ask it to play a game that you can do with other people, and then of course, all of the different things that you can program in with Alexa as random apps that you can have Alexa connect with, routines, and all of those different things that Alexa does, this device can also do. And there's going to be more and more coming to it because it is a brand new device. It's something that's new, and people haven't written a bunch of routines or apps, services that we use maybe in different areas of our life don't have specific instructions that operate with this guy yet. So once some of them start doing that and finding utility in not just the standard Alexa devices that we're used to, but also something like this, I can see a lot of fun things taking place and a lot of actual usefulness in a device like this. But what's great is that Astro, if I say his name, he wakes up and he starts to listen. Just an interesting device to have around your house because it does solve, I think, the main problem, which is all of our Alexa devices are fixed to a location. The majority of them are. They make battery-powered Alexa devices that we can carry around with us, but then you have to carry it around with you from room to room. So it solves the problem of having to carry around or have an Alexa device in all rooms. It also solves the problem of security. Having to have security devices up all over your house, which are kind of an eyesore, and then make people feel like their privacy is not respected because you've got cameras up all over the place. This solves that problem because when you're not at home, it can be patrolling. It's going around and looking and seeing what's going on in your home. But even then, you can open up the Alexa app, and in the Alexa app, you can control this as well. So as long as I keep saying its name, it's going to keep loading. But I can go into devices, and I can go to guard, and I can put this in guard mode if I forget to do that before I leave. So in the Alexa app, I can use this device, and I can see all of my different Alexa devices, including my Astro device right here. However, there is also a dedicated app for Astro because he has so much additional functionality. And so I can go into live view, and live view here will allow me to send him to different rooms, see different viewpoints, look for different things and also look for different people. What's really cool about him is because he has facial recognition, I can ask him to go find somebody. So you can even play hide and seek with him, which is something that my kids love to do. As long as you hide in a place where he can find you, he will go and scan. You can tell him to look for somebody specific. He will only alert when he finds the right person. So it's kind of cool. So if I hit live view, he's going to let everybody know he's connecting, and then he's in live view and he's alerting, making some noise. And then we've got the live view here, which is of my messy studio. I can tell him to go to specific rooms. I can go to different viewpoints like the charger, and I can create different viewpoints. Like I can create a viewpoint for out the front window. So he goes to the front window. So you could program in an unlimited amount of viewpoints, and same thing with things. And then same thing with people. Now under camera, I can go into camera mode here. I can start to record, and then I can also move his periscope up and down. And so I moved his periscope up a little bit there, move it back down. I can adjust his location and all that good stuff as well. He also has a flashlight that I could turn on. So if it's nighttime, I can turn his flashlight on so that he can see better in the dark. Astro is a really cool device because he just has so many. Oh, I didn't want to undock him. Astro, stay put. I don't want him to drive off the table. So I'm going to need to stop view, and he'll put his camera away. And hopefully he'll stay put because he's on a table and I don't want him to roll off. While this device is an early adopter type of device, it is definitely something that most people might not be ready to invite into their home. I know for me, when I first set him up, I was thinking, yeah, this is too much for us. I don't know how I feel about it. But then when I started looking into the utility that he provides, knowing that he doesn't have to be powered on all the time, but when I do have him powered on and we're not at home, he's patrolling the home, he's driving around. That means that there's really no way to hide from him, because if he hears sound that comes from nowhere, like out of nowhere, he'll go over and patrol that area and turn his camera on and start to record clips of what's going on in that area. And yeah, you can see, like, he's not very heavy. You could pick him up and throw him in the corner or something like that and obscure him. But by that time, he's already captured what's going on, and you can hear things that are going on. So as far as a security device goes, I think it's an excellent idea. Obviously, one of the things he's not going to be able to do is climb stairs or go downstairs. So if you have a 2-story house, you'll have to decide what story this guy's going to live on, and probably the ground floor where people would enter your house. We have a 2-story house, so having him upstairs wouldn't necessarily make sense, but having him downstairs where he could patrol and see all of the doors and windows that would be accessible is definitely something of value. And so while yes, he is essentially a very expensive Alexa device, he also brings the utility of cameras and being able to patrol and protect the home, which I think is pretty neat. I'm making this video because this is a new type of device that I think in the future we'll start to see in our homes, as Amazon and Alexa being kind of the first to try something like this that actually connects with our smart home. I can do all the things with Alexa with this device, such as tell it to turn on lights and tell it to do different things. It can do those things, which I think is great. But the ability to patrol the home and make sure that everything is safe and secure is something that only someone who is home can do, or you just have to have cameras up all over the house and only see where those cameras can see. What do you think about this device? Let's talk about it down in the comment section below. Are we ready for a connected device to patrol our home, or would you prefer to have cameras and stuff like that up? What are your thoughts on home security and home protection and a device like this? But that's going to do it for this video. Definitely check out the link in the description below to check out pricing and availability on this guy. And make sure to give the video a thumbs up, because it was expensive buying this guy and I wanted to try him out and I wanted to share my opinions with you. So thank me with a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this, and I hope to see you back in another one soon. Take care.